In this video, we will talk about the basic counting technique that's called the multiplication principle. And in order to illustrate this principle, we will look at a very simple problem. And the problem goes like this. Suppose you have to make up a password, and the password consists of 2 characters. All right? You have a few options here. For the first character, you can choose from the letters A and B, while for the second character of your password, you can choose from the digits 5, 6, or 7. All right? So the question is, how many passwords are there subject to these restrictions? All right? Now, just because we are at the beginning, I suggest all my students, if at all possible, in order to understand a new field, try to get a visual representation of your problem. Maybe it helps. All right, so my visual representation of this problem would be like so. Let's say we can choose A for the first character of our password. Once we chose A, we can choose 5, 6, or 7 as the second character of the password. So we just made up these passwords A5, A6, and A7. All right? But A is not the only option that we have for character number 1 here, and we have another option, which is B. Once we made that choice, again, we can choose for the second character of the password one of the digits 5, 6, or 7. So now we just made the passwords B5, B6, and B7. All this being done, we exhausted all the possible choices that we have in order to make the password subject to these restrictions here. So all we need to do now is count what we've got. So if we look at this group, we have a group of 3 passwords. This other group is another group of 3 passwords. All right. So in total, we have 2 groups of 3 passwords. So we end up with a total of 6 passwords. All right. So I wrote 6 on purpose as 2 times 3, just to emphasize the fact that the number of options we have for the first character plays a role in the total number of passwords we came up with, and the number of options we have for the second character of our password also plays a role in the number of options we end up with. Namely, the total number of options is the product of the 2 number of options, okay, for the 2 characters involved in our password. Now, I suggest that maybe the student goes ahead and plays a little bit with maybe passwords, let's say, of 3 characters or 4 characters, right? And maybe here you have, I don't know, let's say 3 options. Maybe here you have 5 options. Maybe here you have 2 options. Maybe here you have 4 options. It depends. You can play with all these numbers. It's just that if you happen to choose too many options for one of these characters, you will end up with a very big tree here. So it's going to be fairly hard to represent visually fully. All right. But now we can actually write down the basic counting principle, which is this multiplication principle, and it goes like this. If you have to make some choices, right? It doesn't matter actually how many choices you are going to have to make. But for the first choice, you have, let's say, N1 options. For the second choice, you have N2 options. For the third choice, you have N3 options, and so on. For your kth choice, you have Nk options, right? The total number of options you have is N1 times N2 times N3 and so on times n k.